Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we're finally taking on a proper mile-and-a-half race here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This is going to be an exciting one, as I've been looking forward to getting to kind of the more bread and butter of the Cup Series and just seeing what we can really do in terms of pace. And we've got the Target Flames back on the car this weekend and ready to roll, fresh off of 3 consecutive victories for Junior Motorsports. We had Carson Hocevar take the victory in Bristol. We went dominated in Sonoma, picked up the win there, and then last episode Connor Zilisch takes the lead late on a restart over Chris Buescher and hangs on to make it 3 in a row for this team, and all 3 drivers now in the playoffs. Chris Buescher, he's had 2 consecutive runner-up finishes this season, so it's been quite a solid run for him so far. Now, there's been some rumors floating around this weekend about Chase Elliott, who's in a contract season with Hendrick Motorsports, and there's been some rumors that there's potential that he is looking to follow in his father's footsteps and create his own team, potentially going into next season. So that's something to keep an eye on, as that rumor's been floating around, and it would be really interesting if Chase Elliott actually ends up creating his own team and going Cup racing with his own team here as we come through into qualifying with this target number 8 here with the Next Level Racing onboard camera. Now, of course, if you're in the USA, you can use my code GOIN25 in the link down below on nextlevelracing.com for 5% off on all orders of sim racing gear, from cockpits to seats as well to flight simulated products. Now, as we have a goal over 31.295 as we head down into turns 3 and 4. Getting right there against the apron, actually a little bit too close, tapping it, which is going to unsettle the car, chasing it up the track off of turn 4, down the front straightaway through the tri-oval. We still are going to be close to the goal. We beat it with a 31.142. And we'll be P14 to start this Pennzoil 400 now. The question is, who's going to be on pole? Expect to see big names like a Larson and an Elliott up front. It's Larson on pole, joined by Jesse Love. However, Chase Elliott's nowhere to be seen, while all 3 of his Hendrick teammates are in the top 6. Hocevar there, P16, Zilisch down in P19 for Junior Motorsports, and Chase Elliott, who had a really bad qualifying effort in Richmond, has another one in Vegas in 28th. It has not been the ideal start to the season for Chase Elliott, and he looks to turn things around here in Vegas, but it's going to take some work now. Brings us to Sunday afternoon at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 6 races down, 6 different winners. 3 of them have been one team with Junior Motorsports. We've had all manufacturers visit victory lane so far, except for one, and that, of course, is Ford. We've had Honda, we've had Cadillac, we've had Toyota, all find success this season now, as Josh Berry looking a bit slow today in that number 60. He's had a strong season. Zane Smith has been struggling. We've talked about his bad luck. It looks like it's not going to get any better today. Gio Ruggiero gave up his qualifying position for a new set of tires. We're ready to go green here now behind that number 18 of Alex Bowman. We got a part-time car for Junior Motorsports, the 7, driven by Ryan Truex this weekend. Green flag is out. We start P13. We're underway. Kyle Larson and Jesse Love lead the field into turn 1. Row 2, you got Ty Gibbs as well as Ross Chastain. Chastain closing in on a full year without a win. Ty Gibbs, of course, has been winless for beyond 1 season. Could the Season 3 Cup Series champion turn that around today, as we're right on that back bumper of Alex Bowman? Alex Bowman has had a bit of a slow start to the season. Not a bad start to the season by any means, as we hit the 7th race now. And of course, you hit race 7 at this point in the career mode. Like, I know it's only race 7, but I mean, time's ticking already. I mean, it only takes 12 races to be halfway through the regular season, so you got to really get things going right now. And speaking of a driver that's gotten things going, Corey Heim in that number 11, he's currently comfortably inside the playoffs, looking for that first win of his Cup Series career. And the only way that first win doesn't come this season is if something, was to go catastrophically wrong, basically, here as we're fighting with the likes of Bubba Wallace, and still that 18 hanging there in my right rear. How about Carson Hocevar there on our door as we head down this front straightaway now, and overall very happy with the start to get up to P11 in the first couple of laps. And Ty Gibbs actually has gotten past both his teammate of Jesse Love and Kyle Larson for the lead. 3 wide in front of us there. You got Andretti, you got Junior Motorsports, you got Joe Gibbs racing all around here. Christopher Bell, the Andretti duo right there of Sanchez and Bubba Wallace, and myself, of course, in Hocevar. We actually jump up to the outside behind Hocevar and would get to the outside of that 28 of Bubba Wallace, and of course your Iowa winner from last season. It's been an okay start to the season for Bubba Wallace, but he's still a little ways out of the playoffs. Nick Sanchez, he's stepped up quite a bit this season as well. We know Andretti Global has become the flagship team for Honda, so it's no surprise that they've kind of swapped with Trackhouse for this season. Trackhouse has not looked good at all. Of course, they downsized to 3 cars, and we have seen Chase Purdy as a rookie not running so good. Chandler Smith has been struggling. It sucks to see Chandler Smith kind of get the bad end of the deal because he, of course, was so strong for a lot of the time in that 18 car last season at Joe Gibbs Racing. And then, of course, Tyler Reddick, who made maybe a terrible career decision to sign with Trackhouse before all of this went down and leave 2311 and, of course, swap with Ross Chastain. Now, Tyler Reddick has been the standout at Trackhouse. He has not been running horrible. He's not been running good, but he's not been horrible like the other 2 cars. Now, as we clear that number 4 of Carson Hocevar for the 8th position now, and we would focus in on running down this DeWalt number 20 of Christopher Bell, your Season 4 champion right now, who we thought could have very well been the Season 5 champion. He had so many playoff points like myself that he was able to cruise into the Final 4, but he just never put up the results. As now Ty Gibbs back out in front after Kyle Larson did briefly take the lead. Look in my mirror. Look who's here. Chase Elliott, after qualifying outside of the top 25, he has driven up to P9, and he's going to get to my outside as we head down into turn 1. There is some serious speed in that Napa Auto Parts Cadillac for Hendrick Motorsports. Now Elliott in the news this week with those rumors, of course, about potentially starting his own team. And here he is, absolutely flying as we come halfway through stage 1. We cannot make it to the end of this first stage on field, so we will have to get to the pit lane at some point now as we are tight on that number 9 as we exit turn 4. Very close quarters racing, and Elliott's just going to continue to go forward here as we cross the stripe. So 14 to go. Elliott has driven, up 20 positions from where he started, and he's up to P8, putting some pressure on Christopher Bell, but we're going to fight back because Elliott kind of gets caught up behind that 20. We'll re-clear the 9 as we exit turn 2. Ross Chastain kind of falling back to us here in that number 45 Busch Light Toyota Camry as we dive it down into turn number 3, actually clipping the apron, sliding up the racetrack. Will be 3 wide, middle with the 20 on the outside, 9 to the inside. He's going to get a 2-for-1 special. Elliott says thank you very much now. Now look in the background, 10th place. Now Joey Logano, he is moving his way forward as well. Watch out for that number 22 as Elliott's going to get through to the inside of Chastain. He should clear him on the exit of turn 2. Yes, he will. Says thank you very much. That 9 car is probably going to drive away from here on out. Now as we get to the inside of Chastain, who's had a very solid start with 2311, but still he's had some rough results as well. Not currently in the playoffs as we come through to now lap 19, seeing some green flag pit stops kick off with all these guys in front of us, but Ty Gibbs, one of the drivers, staying out, running this a little bit long. We all have to pit at the end of this lap right here, lap 20. So we're going to come in, we're going to get 4 tires, we're going to get feel, and of course do everything we can to make sure we don't speed right here as we exit turn 4. Get down onto the apron without much issue. We get it down to 45 miles per hour. I didn't want any adjustments at this point. I was really happy with how the car was driving. So it's just a very straightforward 4-tire pit stop. We're going to get out here in 15.2 seconds, and we've gained time, actually contact there with our teammate of Truex in the pit lane, but we'll come out behind Gibbs, who's well behind Kyle Larson, so a bit of a slow stop. There goes the 48 of Caruth. He might actually be the leader here as we exit turn 2. There goes Jesse Love, and sure enough, Rajan Caruth is going to take the lead eventually when we all go back through. He's gotten in front of the 5 of Kyle Larson. I think we're going to be a net P6 right now because we just have to pass Nick Sanchez, who's run this out a little bit longer. Overall, a really good pit sequence right there, and it's always nice to get these green flag runs in this game because you don't always get these green flag pit stop opportunities. We were P6, but it didn't last long because look at that. The 9 car is flying. Chase Elliott up to P6. Didn't even fight him because it wasn't worth a fight. I think he's probably the fastest car here, and he's going to be running up front here going into stage 2. But as we came to 2 to go, approaching the final lap, look at the lap traffic mixed in, and Elliott makes the wrong move. He goes up behind the colleague rookie of Andres Perez as Caruth leads the way at the white flag in stage 1. Elliott caught up behind the 16. Thank you very much. We'll get to the inside, back into P6. Byron working to the outside of the 12 of Zane Smith, who's way off the pace here in 39th position. as we exit turn 2 down this back straightaway, slipping around a little bit now, but Koop leads over Larson and Gibbs into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. We're going to get to the 24, but we're not going to have a chance to pass him, just not close enough. But the 48, Rajan Koop, comes through to win stage 1 over Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs in 3rd, and it's going to be Jesse Love in P4 over Byron, myself, Elliott as well for the top 7 positions. So overall, a really solid stage 1. There's a lot of Cadillac presence up here in the top 5. You got all of Hendrick Motorsports in the top 7, and then of course you got a pair of Joe Gibbs cars, 3 Joe Gibbs cars in the top 8. So it's kind of Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs, and then myself. And then, of course, you got Chastain and Logano there in the bottom part of the top 10. We gain 1 spot in the pits here. We'll overtake that 24 of William Byron. Will be alongside him on row 3 as we get ready to take the green flag. Stage number 2 is underway. The 81 Sport Clips Toyota of Jesse Love. A bit slow on the restart now. Got to be patient there. Can't change lanes, of course, unless it's, something drastic that he's slow, by a lot more than he was right there. So into turn 1, we follow this 81 now. Gibbs on my outside, Larson there, P2 on the outside, heading down this back straightaway. Watch out for that 81 of Jesse Love. He won that race, of course, at the Super Speedway in Atlanta in race 2. It was quite an impressive victory that he was able to take early on with this new team of Joe Gibbs to pick up his 2nd career win. Now, as he's actually going to get to the inside of the 48, I see Zilish coming up behind us as well. Watch out for that Red Bull number 88. A lot more Red Bull presence in this season for any of the drivers. Of course, they were a partner with Zilish and Shane Van Gisbergen previously. Now as we're 3 wide in the middle again, Chase Elliott going through saying, don't mind if I do here. He moves up to P5 after passing me and his teammate of William Byron. 2 cars with the Flames side by side. The Target Flames versus the Exalta Flames as we exit turn 4. Near contact with that 24 as we head down this front stretch now. Great racing here in Las Vegas. I always love coming to this racetrack in NASCAR Heat 5. The AI, they always put on a great race. There's a few mile and a halves that just put on great races, and it's Vegas, it's Kansas, it's Charlotte. Those 3 tracks are staple tracks for mile and a halves in this game that just put on brilliant races with the AI. And I mean, they're always swapping the lead, and as you can see right now, the 54 is out in front, but Chase Elliott, he is climbing into the conversation. He's about to go up into P3 behind that number 81 of Jesse Love as we come through 3, and out of turn 4, around goes the 81 of Love, blows a tire, and now the caution's gonna fly. Logano, Bell, Bubba Wallace as well, all catch a piece of it, and it's going to be day over just like that. Jesse Love goes from a threat to win to day over. Fortunately, he's got to win. He doesn't have to worry about points, but the caution flies. Everybody is going to stay on the racetrack, and we'll get ready for a restart. So we'll be P6, but very unfortunate there for the 81 Joe Gibbs driver. We have to watch out for maybe some cars being slow on the restart right here. I don't know if any of these guys in front of us made contact with that 81. Doesn't look like it. Everybody's up to speed, as actually I'm the one that's slow. I don't know what was going on there, but Logano was really slow behind us. You can see a big space in our rear view mirror. But how about Connor Zilish now into the conversation? Byron forces Larson, and Koop 3 wide, drives from 5th to 2nd in 1 corner to put some pressure on that Monster Energy Toyota of Ty Gibbs, who's now the lone wolf for Joe Gibbs up front here as we roll through 3 and 4, and Gibbs to the top with Byron Larson to the inside as we head down this front straightaway now. The 45 of Chastain at my door as well. Don't rule out Ross Chastain. He's got a top 10 car. I just don't know though if he's got quite enough to fight for the win. I kind of feel like we are in a hybrid of that right now, where I think we're better than Chastain on the long run specifically, but we're not quite good enough either to fight for the win of this race. And you can see Larson actually eventually works his way back to the lead as Byron would drop down to 5th. Chase Elliott up to P3 in front of the 48. Now we're really going to see what the 9 car has. Does he have a car capable of taking the lead of this race, or is he just kind of where his other teammates are, where he's going to be fighting for the lead, but he's not going to drive away? But nonetheless, we know Chase Elliott is a threat. All of Hendrick Motorsports right now is running in the top 5. They're 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th as Gibbs retakes the lead of this race here as we are approaching just the final 10 laps here of stage number 2, and I feel like this is kind of where we are today, about a P6, P7. I feel like that's kind of where our car is right here with Connor Zilish, who didn't get stage points in stage 1, but clearly they have made some improvements over the course of the pit stop cycle, and here he is running now in P6, and we're going to continue to scrap it out now with that Red Bull Cadillac through 3 and 4. He runs up high, we run to the inside, we'll be side by side on the exit of 4, near contact right there, but he is able to utilize that momentum down the front straightaway, and the outside works on both ends of the track, but it really allows you to carry the most momentum down the front straightaway compared to the back straightaway. So Kyle Larson back out in front over Gibbs now at this point as we are in the final 10 laps. We do have to pit. We cannot make it to the end of stage 2 from here, so we are going to have to make a pit stop before this stage comes to a conclusion. As you can see, we're still in the same spot, lap 20, fighting with that 88, but Zilish, he knows what he's doing. He's putting his car exactly where it needs to be right now to keep himself in front of me, and it was a bit frustrating, to be completely honest here. I wanted to get past him. I felt like we could go run down the 24, but I'm stalling myself out because we're washing up into the side of Zilish, because I'm good enough on the bottom to get alongside him, but I'm not good enough to clear him, so it was making it really, really difficult now, as we are going to be the first one to come into the pits of this top 6 or 7 group, and we're going to take 4 tires. Of course, everybody's going to take 4, and once again, no adjustments, because I didn't really feel like the car could get better. If we do have a short run at the end of this race, I do want to make adjustments to free up the car, because the car is pretty tight on the short run, but that's to make the car better overall on the long run, and I think it's working really well right now, as now we head out of the pits, and everybody's pitting except for the 23 of Ryan Blaney. Speaking of Ryan Blaney, that's a driver that's had a bit of a slow start to the season. Just haven't seen a whole lot of speed out of that 23 team. They picked up 2 wins last season, including a crown jewel at the Brickyard 400, as now Blaney is going to be peeling off the track heading into the pit lane, so we will unlap ourselves very quickly and not have to worry about a caution coming out that would screw me over. So now as we head down this front straightaway in towards turn 1, we're going to see where we cycle out with only a few laps of racing left. There's the 9, the 48 as well, and the 88. We're going to pass all these guys, and we might even get to the 24 easily. There's the 22 of Logano. He's actually been held up a lap down. He had a bad pit stop, and we'll pass Gibbs for 4th position. And now, as we came to the front straightaway, that 54 would blow my doors right off. So we got up to the position of 4th. We actually jumped to 3rd after passing Ryan Blaney, but now we're back down to P3. So Kyle Larson leads coming to the final lap of stage 2. Joey Logano had a bad pit stop, and now he's trapped a lap down, but he's got some serious speed, and he's hoping to get the free pass here, but I don't think he's going to, as we have got ourselves in a great spot. Car on the wall. Outside, that's the number 66. Caution is out, and Kyle Larson will be awarded your stage 2 win over Gibbs, myself, Byron, and Zilish. Caruth, Elliott, Chastain, hosts of our Heim, the top 10. But look at this. We're seeing some split strategy, including the stage winner of Larson electing to come into the pits. Several drivers are going to pit. Buescher gets the free pass, so Logano is going to have to wait. We're going to stay out and go on the strategy of we're going to have to pit a little bit earlier, but that's the strategy that the majority are in. So I wanted to kind of go with the majority on this one. Stay out. We'll now be leading for the start of stage 3, and big names of Larson and Gibbs, they got to go forward now. They've got some work to do as we're back underway. Lap 60 of 93, stage 3 underway. Chase Elliott is as well on the same strategy. Hosts of our Chastain as well. Zilish, he actually was one of the drivers that pitted, so it's going to be interesting to see what strategy prevails, the one of staying out right here or the one of pitting at the end of stage 2. I was really surprised to see those guys pit, because they had only run, 3 or 4 laps, if that, there to the end of the stage after the pit stop. They usually would not pit in that scenario, so I was quite surprised to see that. We slide up on the exit of the corner, actually catch the wall with the right rear quarter panel. Here comes Chastain, here comes Chase Elliott, 3 wide as we head down the front straightaway in the middle again. That's not the first time today we've been 3 wide in the middle, a bit of a common occurrence. And now we'll switch over to the inside. We'll force Chastain 3 wide. Chase Elliott with the momentum on the top is going to take the commanding lead down the back straightaway. Say see you later, and now he's free to run away. I think Chase Elliott might be the car to beat at this point now, and I think he's on the right strategy to really make that happen as we continue side by side with Chastain as we head down the front stretch, knowing we're overall better than this 45. I don't want to waste a lot of time, but he uses that outside momentum to get clear. So just, having to accept it, but we're going to fight back up the inside immediately of that 2311 Toyota now. A future for Chastain that looks bright here with 2311 Racing. We eventually clear him off of turn 4, coming to lap 63, and Bubba Wallace up here into the 4th position as well, as now we'll try to focus in on running down that 9 of Chase Elliott, but guess what? It wasn't happening. He was driving away from me. So as we come to lap 65, he's even running the slower lane in the corners, and he's still driving away from me. So Chase Elliott is, right now, if things work out, probably going to win this race, but I mean, that's easier said than done. We know how NASCAR Heat 5 goes. Yeah, most of the time, things don't work out for the leader. So, as we hit 27 laps to go at this point now, there's a caution. That's the 15 of Gio Ruggiero around in the tri-oval, and Brent Cruz and Ryan Preece both catch a piece of it, and I believe that was the 12 of Zane Smith as well. And now we've got the... Oh, this is interesting. So some drivers are still staying out, and some drivers that originally stayed out are pitting. We're going to be one of the ones that pit. So we're going to come into the pits, and how about Chase Elliott? Chase Elliott staying out, Hocevar as well. I don't agree with that. I think that's the wrong strategy call. We're going to be on the front end of the new tires, and now we have got 3 different strategies. This very rarely happens in this career mode, where we come to now 24 to go, and we got 3 different strategies at play. We've got the one that we've just started where, how do I even explain it? Larson, Gibbs, Zilish, Caruth, they're on a strategy, and others of course, pitting at the end of stage 2 and taking tires, and now they're on a bit older tires, and then Elliott and a few others are on the strategy, including Hocevar, of course, staying out at the end of stage 2 and staying out on this caution. We are on the strategy with a lot of others, including Chastain, and now even Chris Buescher, of pitting kind of midway through stage 3. So there's 3 different strategies, and it's all going to come down to timing of cautions that is going to benefit one over the other, because as it stands currently, none of the strategies can make it to the end of this race. So I still have to pit one more time, but we are trying to utilize the fresh tires to get ourselves back to where we were. But Chase Elliott, look at this. He's driven away immediately now, as we continue now rolling through 3 and 4 to the back of Hocevar, who's on that same strategy as the 9 of staying out, waiting, and he's going to have to pit a lot earlier than anybody else, but we'll pass him. We'll get to the inside of the 24 of William Byron. Ryan Blaney on the same strategy as Chase Elliott. We look to the inside of that 23 now through 1 and 2. We'll pass the 24. We'll pass the 23 up to P6 here now. Zilish, Gibbs right here in front of us as we head down this back straightaway. So I really like where we're at right now. I don't know if this is really a race-winning strategy. Like I said, it's all going to come down to, timing of cautions here to really determine how this is going to work itself out. But Elliott leads, but Caruth, Larson, Gibbs, Zilish, myself, we're all coming on tires. We have the freshest of this group right here. But the question is, can we still make that really count? I know we've got fresher tires, but we know the 5, the 48, the 54, they're the 3 strongest cars outside of Chase Elliott, and we are all running down Chase Elliott, but we're not running him down very quickly. And that is showing you the strength today in that number 9. We have all got fresher tires, but we're not running him down, and I had kind of flatlined right here. I'm getting stuck again with fighting the car on the outside. It was just not easy for me. As we continue, Gibbs all the way up against the wall just about, and he'll continue that momentum down the front straightaway, and I just can't really make things work right there. So we're kind of trapped again, and he eventually gets clear. Chase Elliott, he is not far from having to pit. He's about to have to come in, and he'll be, of course, on that same strategy of all the guys that stayed out at the end of stage 2 and stayed out at the last caution. So he's going to have to pit before anybody, and the question is, how long does he want to wait as we catch the outside wall on the exit of turn 4? Damage to the right side. Chastain slips through. Here comes Zilish as well. That's going to be a big blow to our strategy now, as we have to fight our way back forward, and we are not going to waste any time. We have to make sure we're on it here for the rest of this race now if we're going to really make things happen side by side with Connor Zilish. I really hope we're not going to go through this battle again, because he did not make things easy earlier. He goes right down to the inside actually now, as we continue on lap 77, following Zilish now past this 45 of Chastain. Give him a shot to the bumper, just trying to push him forward as we're wheel to wheel with this 45 as we head down the front straightaway. And you see it there, Elliott is in. Chase Elliott gives up the lead to pit, and he would love right now a caution at this exact moment, because if a caution comes out, he can do his pit stop, he'll cycle out back to the lead of this race, and it is a perfect case scenario for him. Unfortunately for Chase Elliott, it doesn't quite work out like that. So we pass the 45, we're to the inside again of this 88. We know Zilish, Caruth, Gibbs, Larson, Byron, they all have to pit earlier than I do. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting as we actually clip the apron, but it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to work out here as now the 24 gets to my inside, and he would actually pass both myself and Zilish as I just kind of stalled out at this point. I didn't quite have the car that I needed, but we have finally nearly cleared this 88 here as we exit turn 2, but still leaving him room. Here we go. Now Zilish is going to pit. Byron, Caruth, Larson, Gibbs are all going to pit this lap, so we're going to run at least another 6 to 7 laps before we come into the pits, and Chastain, he's just behind us, probably doing the same thing as we cross the stripe, and caution flies at the absolute perfect time for that group right there. That was on the strategy of pitting at the end of stage 2, because now they're going to complete their pit stop and they can stay out on the racetrack and not give up track position, where we have to now pit and give up all that track position. We're going to have a short run, so we're going to make a big adjustment, freeing up the car, repairing the damage on the right side, only right side tires. Reason for caution was my teammate, part-time teammate Ryan Truex. Big crash right there with the 94 of Retzlaff running into him. We give up 8 spots and dropped a P9 on 2 tires. How about Austin Hill up here in the conversation now as we take the green flag, and it's going to be 9 laps to go. Kyle Larson leads the field into turn number 1. We're behind that 45 of Chastain because we had to make some of those repairs to the damage on the right side. We've got Corey Heim just behind. How about Chris Buescher in the top 10? He had to take a free pass earlier. He was running in the 20s, and now here he is in a top 10 spot as we force him 3 wide down this bank straight away. I'd never hesitate to put Chastain 3 wide. Now, of course, that's the way he races everybody. We race him just like that as well. As we roll through 3, we'll clear both cars behind us, move up into P6. We've got pretty well equal tires to the cars in front of us. We don't have any advantage at all anymore. So now at this point, it's a dogfight. It's a straight up fight for the win, and Kyle Larson and Caruth now control the field, but watch out for that 54 of Ty Gibbs. I think it's those 3 fighting for the win. By the way, completely forgot to note, Chase Elliott got screwed by that caution. He got forced to lap down, so he was not in the free pass position when the caution came out. So Chase Elliott got completely screwed over and is going to lose a ton of points here today. But it's a battle between myself, Byron, and Zilish for 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's a battle between Caruth, Larson, and Gibbs for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. 2 3-car groups fighting it out for position right now as Caruth is to the inside of the 5, but we know that they're all so strong. Any of those guys up there that win this race is well deserving of the win here today. The question is, who is it going to be? It's all going to come down to timing now. Caruth is in the lead, but it was very short-lived. As we came to lap 90, we finally passed the 88, but just can't quite make it happen. Gibbs now leads as we were trying to pass that 24. Zilish fights back with the momentum down the straightaway. He'll re-clear me, and we continue this battle that's happened a few times today as we slide across the nose, coming to 2 to go, as Gibbs still leads over Larson. Caruth in 3rd, but Zilish again with the momentum on the top fights back and clears us into turn number 1. The leaders are all running all the way up on the wall as Caruth is about a lane down, as we're right on the door of the 88, having to lift right there, as Zilish is showing, hey, as teammates, we're gonna fight this one out. 1 lap to go in Las Vegas, and we just lost ground right there off of turn 4. Larson's to the inside of Ty Gibbs. You can see it up in the distance now. It's gonna be side by side off of turn 2. I think Gibbs is pretty well done for. I don't see how he's gonna get out of this one, and we might have our first repeat winner of the season. Into turn 3, Larson clear for the lead. He's gonna do it as we come through off of turn 4. I can't quite get the 88. Kyle Larson, win number 2 on the season over Ty Gibbs and Caruth. Gibbs nearly finally broke the season plus long winless streak, but it will have to wait instead. Gibbs, Caruth, Byron, Zilish, the top 5 with myself. How about Bubba Wallace in the top 10? A good run there. And you see the rest of the order. Barry rebounds for 14th after a rough day. Bowman in 15th. Chase Elliott, who got trapped a lap down, well, he ends up 30th. Corey Day as well, and that brand new team of Jordan Anderson racing with a great run. Ryan Blaney, another one, and Carson Hocevar that all got screwed on that same strategy as Elliott. They finish in the 30s. As we look onwards to the next race at Phoenix Raceway. But looking at the playoffs, following our first repeat winner after 7 races, Caruth currently the last one in. Chase Elliott is out of the playoffs by 13 points right now. Briscoe out by 3. And of course, Chastain and Bubba Wallace 24 and 25 points back. As you see the 6 different winners that occur currently locked in. Byron being the top one in on points. And Chris Buescher having one heck of a season so far. That's going to do it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one from Phoenix Raceway. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.